was told by my doctor that it would be 2 years on a wait list. You also can't have a foreign spouse.
Yeah.
And you also can't cheat. The average person knows nothing about Vikings. Oh, they say they'll build the metro 10 years later. So it's been about a year since I packed up my whole life in Denmark to move to China to be with Jay.
Hi everyone, that's me.
Ever since that decision was made, I have been told by people that I would regret it, that I was making a mistake. So now, with about a year of a life in China under my belt, I have decided to make a full video about what China just does better than Denmark. So let's get into it. I have some real beef with the Danish healthcare system. I think people might remember a very early video of ours that I talked about my infamous back injury that I got half a year before I moved to China. I was told by my doctor that it would be 2 years on a wait list before I would be able to get a scan to see if my back was broken. Yeah, and that's just the story of the Danish healthcare system. You have to wait forever, like months and months on wait lists to hopefully find out what's wrong. While it is free, it is shite to deal with.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in China, I went to the doctor, boom, same day, got a scan.
And if you have medical, it's also covered.
This is at a tier 1 hospital, so the best.
Yeah, 三甲医院.
It's just so much better. I could never go back.
I can't imagine a 2-year wait list. What's the point? You either died or
have like lasting issues because it healed wrong or some shit.
Yeah.
Now the biggest problem is that he has to drag me to go to hospital because I've gotten so used to it just being a hassle that I don't want to go.
After we've been together, I've realized that Chinese people go to hospital very often.
For everything.
Yeah, for a very small problem.
Like the flu.
And that's such a luxury.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is. And we don't take medicine for flu. Here you get medicine.
Here people get IV for flu.
It's so wild. Thank you, China, for your amazing healthcare. I really love it. Thank God. Transportation here is ridiculously cheap. Like unimaginably cheap. It is new. It is nice. It is fast, safe. Like, I cannot stop singing my praises. And all you need is a phone. Like, just scan it. I get that we have that in Denmark too, but good luck finding a bus that actually arrives on time. And if you're taking the train to Copenhagen, you'll never get there on time. There's like a 50% chance that it's delayed, will break down, and the remaining 50% is just cancelled. One time it told me that it was delayed, and it was like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's not delayed yet.
You need to wait at most 3 to 5 minutes.
And to put it into perspective, no matter how long I take the metro here, it will cost me $1 at most. Yeah. One singular dollar.
Yeah.
For something that is so nice, and you have coolness options. It will be coldest is in the middle and low coldest in the ends.
Yeah.
It is so nice.
And it's very clean. No rat, no piss.
No smell.
Yeah.
No smoke. My mom's favorite thing about China is the political accountability, I think. Or at least it's the thing she talks about to people a lot. Because it really shocked her. Like in China, foreigners for sure don't know this. There's a very high standard for politicians to live up to. If you cheat, that's a big, really big issue.
Yeah.
Any type of things that might lead to you being an easy target for corruption or lead you to do stuff that's not in the best interest for the country.
Maybe they're not breaking the law, but they're breaking the party discipline.
So this is not like the law for citizens, it's just people in power. For example, if you're in the military, you also can't have a foreign spouse.
Yeah.
And you also can't cheat.
And also they made plan. For example, when they just got into the office, they made plan for the next 5 years. And if you can't achieve it or stick with it, you're in trouble. Because we have a Department of Organization. They basically review and select talent. If you did really poor job, they won't fire you, but they will move you to very, very unimportant position.
I think it's so awesome, and I wish we had that in democracies, because it would make so much more sense, because we vote based off of what you tell us that you will do for us. So when these politicians don't even attempt it, which most politicians don't even attempt what they say they will, they don't actually care. They just want your vote. So there should be a level of like
consequence.
Yeah, like you scammed people.
Yeah, I feel like the democracy you guys have is kind of like you select someone and you got disappointed.
Yeah.
And you wait for the next 4 years. Like
yeah.
And the cycle continues.
This is pretty accurate to how I feel.
Let's say China.
They'll vote against what they promised you for their own political gain. Like, it's quite gross that they'll just sell you on anything. I really, really love this. I wish my country would implement this sort of discipline because I think it's good.
Yeah.
In Denmark, our prime minister has previously been married to a foreign politician, which is so wild. And another one got outed because his husband had lied about being a spy. Imagine that you lie about being a spy. I can do a whole video about that story because that's so wild. Police here are the sweetest people. So helpful. I have not had a single bad interaction with a police officer at all. Even when they're handling most situations where they have to interact with the public, they're quite nice until people get violent towards them. Even when they're handling like screaming people, they're still quite calm and polite. When I lost my phone very early in my stay here, we had gone out to a club. I had drank a little bit too much and lost my phone. It had gotten stolen.
Yeah.
It had not even crossed my mind that you can go report your phone stolen because in Denmark it would never come and listen to you. They'll be like, who do you think we are? Even if you have a break-in in Denmark, it's actually sometimes hard to get them to show up. When I lost my phone, we went to the police station. They helped us like call the taxi company to see if that was where my phone had gotten stolen. It is so helpful. They didn't end up finding it, but they were so nice to us.
I respect those police officers. And also our detectives are amazing when it comes to like solving murder. Cameras and everything really help a lot.
It solves so many things so quickly.
Like robbery, murder.
Literally the reason why we didn't get my phone back is just because there's not enough cameras. I think that's like the funny part about all of this. I feel like this is kind of like obvious. I hope it's obvious that food in China is like way better. Like way immeasurably better. Of course you don't have the variety that you have in a place like Copenhagen where you have pretty much every nation's food available. But the quality of food here slaps. You can go into something that looks like a hole in the wall and the food there will be like, by my Danish standards, like 10 out of 10. When I first came here, he would jokingly be like, you think everything is amazing? Even though it's like mediocre. And I was like, what do you mean?
It is even though in the food desert, Hangzhou.
Yeah, Hangzhou is known for being like the shitty food place. Let me tell you. Chinese viewers, you will not survive the rest of the world if you think the food there is bad. And even though you might not have as many options when it comes to foreign food, you can still find it.
You can say like we don't have that much international variety, but we have quite a lot of like provincial diversity.
No matter who you are, I feel like you can find food in China you will love.
But how much did you pay for the dumpling? Remember?
The dumpling I paid was it for 5 dumplings? And I paid more than 100.
Made out of gold.
This morning we had dumplings for breakfast.
Yeah.
How much were those dumplings? They are delicious.
Like 20 for 30 dumplings. 20 RMB.
And Hangzhou's food prices are a bit inflated.
Yeah, it's pretty
places.
high compared to a lot of cities.
China, hands down, undefeated champion of the world on this. I think this is going to be a little bit hard for people to accept, but individuality here is way more well accepted than it is in Denmark. I think it's a common belief, both for foreigners and for Danes, that Danes have a lot of self-expression. Meanwhile, the harsh truth is that Danes dress the same, act the same, have the same hobbies. Obviously not everyone, but like 95% minimum. There's not a lot of variety and people have a hard time accepting if you stand out from the norm. When China, Partially probably because there's so many people, there's not really a norm, and people are from very different places. Yeah.
In Dongbei, my hometown, I think individualism is really big.
Yeah. I've seen some people that color their hair very bright colors and no one even looks at them. People can dress in full hanfu. The only reason why anyone will pay any attention to you is if you're very beautiful. They don't give a shit about what you're wearing. You could be fully goth, fully Lolita. It's so cool and so freeing. As someone who never fit the archetype of white t-shirt, sneaker, soccer playing, beer loving Dane, I love it. And you never get the comment of like, oh, you're so dressed up.
No, it's just a normal day.
There's no limit here. So you can do your content creating stuff in China, taking pictures, have full-on photo shoots, and people will not talk shit.
People are more open.
I feel like this is fairly well known that China is very efficient when it comes to city planning. With the amount of growth that China's gone through, if it wasn't efficient, it couldn't have happened. But in Denmark, you just end up feeling like, oh, they say they'll build the metro. 10 years later, not much has happened. They'll build a super hospital. You wait for like more than a decade. They're still discussing where should we put it and who should build it. And China's done. Like, we're ready. It's so much easier. And China has this pre-planning policy.
Yeah.
Like, which is why a lot of Western news sometimes refer to like ghost cities, which is funny when you live here because that's just a pre-planned area. This one is the biggest shock for me as a woman. I didn't expect this to be my experience, but China has a very unique female culture and like support around it. Women here support each other. Like Chinese women will be the girl's girl of girls. I saw a very, what I perceive as an accurate description from a Chinese woman that lives abroad on Reddit, where she said, I have finally figured out what it is that makes me uncomfortable with Western raised women. That they are raised to perceive like bullying and like mean girl behavior as cool and admirable, where in China it's the opposite. It's not cool to hate on other women and tear down other women. And I had never thought about it, but it's so true. In so many movies, we see mean girl behavior, like backstabbing your friend and stuff, even when it's like, oh, this is the good guy in the movie. They still have that like icky behavior where they care more about male validation than their best female friend.
You and I are having dinner tonight.
Well, he got this veal.
You blew me off for a piece of politically incorrect meat?
And it's so comfortable because girls love other women, like in a sisterly way. We use the word sister here amongst each other. Like you'll be like, oh, sister, so beautiful.
Yeah.
If I see a girl and I think she has beautiful hair, I can walk up to her and be like, oh my god, your hair's gorgeous. How did you? And she will give you the most detailed description of everything. How much it costs, what to do. Oh, like, I trust women here so much. Of course, there's still like the green tea bitch stuff.
你有没有想过，可能你跟你老婆根本就不是一种人。
But they are not respected. They're not popular.
They're not popular among men and women. And remember, like, we met this girl wearing hanfu, and we just asked her, like...
I was like, it's so pretty. I don't know where it's from.
Yeah. And they would just share their knowledge.
Honestly, it's rare to meet women in the West that will do this because I have tried. Women can be a little bit aggressive about it. It'll be like, well, it's old. Or like, it's expensive. And it's like, you could still tell me, goddamn. You don't need to give me an attitude. I'm being nice to you, you know?
Yeah, they make it like, this is my thing. I don't want to share it with you.
Yeah, like, don't copy me. Shout out Chinese women for being so awesome. Nature here is so much better than Denmark. No hate to my country. It's very small. It doesn't have mountains. I love mountains.
It doesn't have the variety.
No, like it has the sea.
Yeah.
That's it. And, you know, because of its location, it doesn't look that nice in the off season. Like in summer, Denmark looks magical, and that's kind of it. And summer is very short. Here you have everything. You have desert. You have ultimate coldest weather you could imagine. You have tropical sea town. I love it. 10 out of 10. China on this area is so unmatched. I really do love history and culture. I wish my own country had preserved it more. In Denmark, I would say our connection to our history is very, very, very loose. The average person knows nothing about Vikings. They literally will use the Viking TV show as a reference for that era, which is not... No. That's an issue I've had my whole life, that I didn't feel like a very strong connection to any history or any deeper culture, just very like in the now and very modernized and very affected by Americanism. Of course, China is a very modern country, but people are very connected to their history.
Yeah.
And it catches you so off guard how people will know the most random, in-depth topic about history.
Yeah, I think people in your country don't know that much about their previous history.
No. Of course, I'm also biased because Jay is equally as nerdy as I am.
I'm a nerd.
Especially about his own country's history. I know that a lot of people like to slap on China. They deleted their history. They didn't. They just moved on from having dynasties, you guys.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad thing. Most countries in the world does not have a royal family. And I get that I'm from a country that has a royal family. But that's mostly because my royal family knew when to start acting nice. China's didn't. So...
我这也是为了江山社稷的一片苦心呐。
Obviously, there's a lot of things I really love about China. This is not to say there's not stuff I think is really great in Denmark. It is more like me having fun, making fun of the people that somehow think that China must do everything bad just because it's China. I really love my life here. I really, really don't regret moving. And sometimes just keep an open mind. Give things an honest chance and see things from a neutral perspective.
Yeah.
And then you'll experience more amazing things. Yeah. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.